Hello, everyone. Welcome to On the Move, a show where we share transportation, sales, and marketing success stories. I'm Jennifer Kerpis Romaine, Executive Director here at TMSA, which is a trade nonprofit educating and connecting marketing and sales professionals in transportation and logistics. Today, I have on the show with me Rob McNeil, who is the Vice President of Sales and Solutions at TA Dedicated. Welcome to the show, Rob. How you doing?
Thanks, Jen. Doing really well. Appreciate being on today and really looking forward to our discussion.
Me too. One of my favorite things about this, we met maybe like a month or so ago as we were talking about Executive Summit, but I love getting to know people just in conversations, and then I get to fully like dive into their life history and go on their LinkedIn and see what they care about and see where they worked. And you really do have a really impactful career in the industry. So can you speak a bit about your experience and what led you to where you are today?
Yeah, for sure. So I've been based in Green Bay, Wisconsin, my entire career in transportation. So I went to school, small school up here near Green Bay, St. Albert College, and really one of the coolest things there was the fact that the Schneider family was very involved. And Don Schneider actually came in and spoke to our senior seminar class. And being from the Green Bay area, you kind of know Schneider, you see the orange trucks, but you don't really understand what it's all about until you get a little bit deeper. And actually, Don came in and spoke to our class and really got me interested not only in Schneider but in transportation. And here I am, gosh, 30 plus years since that time. Had a great opportunity to learn the business at Schneider, and some great leaders there that really encouraged me and pushed me to learn as much as I could about different parts of the business, not just go down one track and go into operations and spend your entire career there, or sales, or whatever the track. But Schneider and the leaders that I had really pushed me and challenged me to go learn different parts of the business. So, I mean, I spent my first job out of college was leading a team of union truck drivers. So, I still remember the day that one of my drivers told me he couldn't deliver his load on time because his fifth wheel was flat. So you fall for that once, and after that you start to learn those little tricks along the way. But it was a great place to learn the business. Spent a lot of time in operations, finance, risk management, network planning, pricing, and really led me into a sales role. And I really never saw myself as a salesperson. Um, it was just something that I kind of feel like evolved into. And in one of my roles, I was leading the team expedite division and doing a lot of the network planning and pricing and all of those things, and really got to engage a lot with customers. And I really enjoyed that. And really, my role was to solve the problems. And come to find out, the more and more I interacted with some great salespeople that have taught me a lot. They showed me that really sales is solving problems and developing relationships. So a lot of great opportunities to learn the industry at Schneider, and just a great organization to learn the business at. About 6 years ago, I had the opportunity to broaden my horizons a little bit and move over to Transport America, or what is now TA Dedicated. Came over to TA Dedicated to lead the sales and solutions team. So really my responsibility is kind of for that top line of revenue. Lead a sales team that we've got four sellers throughout the country, and they're engaging with our existing customers as well as out there selling to prospective customers. And then our solutions team is really from our contracting to our engineering and our pricing. And one of the neat things about what we do at TA Dedicated is the supply chain engineering. So the solutions part of what I do now is really a cool, important part of the value that we add to our customers. We've got a really talented team of supply chain engineers who take a look at a lot of data, put it into a program, and come up with better ways, more productive ways to optimize customers' fleets and things like that. So anyways, yeah, just really, transportation kind of gets in your blood. I think like most people, you probably didn't really see, I want to get into trucking, or I want to get into supply chain. I think this next generation coming up now, supply chain is such an important part of our economy and in the business world today. I think it's gotten a lot more credibility and more desirable to have a career in. But back in the day, it was like, hey, I'm getting into trucking. It's not real sexy, but it really does get in your blood, and solving problems every day and the fact that no 2 days are the same is something that just really, has kept me interested, engaged. I get bored pretty easily. So to be able to learn new things and apply those to our customers, to our company, to our internal associates, it's been a lot of fun for me. And I really couldn't imagine a career doing anything else.
I love that. I think it is really important. I like what you said too at the beginning, that you worked for this one company, but they allowed you to kind of move around and try different things. And I think that's so important. We talk a lot about employee retention, and what you just said, I get bored easily. I need to know what's going on. One, to really understand what a company does. And you're a great salesperson, I'm sure, because you worked in so many different facets of the business and you really understand it. And to be able to really understand what your company does, how you do it, how you solve real problems and create those solutions, you're able to do that because you worked in all those different parts. And it's really hard to learn all that stuff otherwise. But I think we talk about employee retention and employee happiness. And to me, that's one of the simplest solutions. Allow people to understand where they are today and where they could go tomorrow, whether that's up or lateral or different departments or try different things or have a project somewhere else. Like, let them, you know, figure things out and see what they like and how they can help you and match their skill set to what your company can do. I think that's really powerful.
Yeah, totally agree. And you said something too, just the whole, I think so many times people, maybe early on in their career, they really just see their career as a ladder, rung upon rung, and you just keep going up. And having taken that approach in my career and looking at other people who've done something similar, the learning comes in all those sideways steps and movement to learn something totally brand new. And you may not become an expert in something, but you just get enough just to kind of understand the basics and the principles and things. And you may not be that expert, but you probably have come in contact with people who are. That you keep those folks within your network, and you broaden your horizon. So yeah, I think it's a great call out. And I think just for folks starting out in this industry, that's some of the guidance that I give as folks are asking questions and things like that. Is just really be as broad as you can, and don't. I think so many people try to push up that ladder on a timetable, and
Mm-hmm.
give it time, get the learnings that you should out of each step and each term in your leadership development.
I love that. Get everything you can. That is how I've lived my whole career. I mean, if you look at me, I worked in different industries. I started my career in journalism. I've bounced all kinds of around. It looks like I have no plan, but I had always made sure that I was prepared for whatever came next. And I tried to take everything out of the opportunity I was in and try to stretch where I could, absorb where I could, learn from the people in my environment. So that way, whenever I took that next step, I was more prepared to do something else than what I was doing right now. And I think that's really important. And I also think that, like, don't get hung up on a title. It's the learning, it's what you can do, not like what's on your business card, even though they are fun and nice. Um, but I think that that's important too, is really figuring out what you want to do and kind of allowing yourself to fall off your roadmap, if because sometimes you take the side road and it takes you to where you want to go, and sometimes it's a shortcut and sometimes it's not, and you don't know unless if you
Yeah,
try.
yeah, you sure don't realize that at the time. But no, I think it's interesting. You think about like comfort zones and things like that. And we have my wife and I have 3 kids, and our oldest, she's in her first career job now. And just one of the things that she and I have talked about a lot as she was growing up, is just getting out of your comfort zone. Life where you are and in your little cocoon, in your little bubble, seems safe. It seems, easy, not as challenging. And that's just the enemy, and I think people and just being willing to take a step into the unknown a little bit and be comfortable being uncomfortable. That's a hard skill.
Mhm.
But yeah, something you want to just jump in with both feet, and just good things are going to happen. You're going to learn regardless. You might be a huge success. You might have failure, but you're going to learn no matter
Absolutely. And I think that actually takes us into where we're going next. And part of why we're chatting is because you're going to be speaking at our executive summit, which is October 10th through 11th in Hoboken. And you're talking about sustainability strategies and how they can deepen your customer relationships, which I think is not a conversation that people have been having throughout time. And how did you kind of start thinking, oh, that is a maneuver to build better relationships? That's something that we should be paying attention to. Kind of how did your journey start with that?
Yeah, great question. I think I wish I could sit here and say, we had this great idea that it was very planful and we had this strategy and we all sat down together and, it took a week to come up with a strategy to say, we're going to do this. That wasn't the case. We actually had a customer that came to us and we've been dabbling in this, this space of scratching our heads a little bit. Like, how do we help our customers get into this space? And the one thing that happened to get dedicated, we had a customer that came to us and said, hey, sustainability is important to us. In order for you to do business with us, we need you to become certified by this organization by the name of EcoVadis. And we'd never heard of that. We didn't know who they were, didn't know what it entailed. And really what EcoVadis is an international organization that is focused on not only sustainability, but diversity, equity, inclusion, corporate governance, and all the things that organizations in today's business climate really are aspiring to make sure that they're a company of choice for potential employees, for existing employees, as well as for customers to work with. And what they do is gauge and score and give feedback on individual organizations' sustainability approaches. So that was really our springboard into the sustainability space. And I'll tell you, looking back, it was hard work. And this was only about a year and a half ago. And that was the start of our sustainability journey. And, to be quite honest with you, Jen, the fact that as an organization, the fact that I'm sitting here talking about sustainability a year and a half after we really jumped in with both feet, it's interesting because, I'm not an expert. TA Dedicated is not an expert. Quite honestly, there are very few experts in this space. It's moving and developing so quickly. The regulatory climate and infrastructure continues to change. So it really is an evolving, ongoing endeavor or important piece of our industry right now. But we just, that initial demand from one of our customers that we become sustainability certified by this outside organization was really our wake-up call, and it's been really exciting. I'm really proud of our organization and the team of folks at TA Dedicated that really jumped in with both feet and learned as much as we can, as quickly as we can.
Yeah, I think that's, I know you say you're not an expert because you've only been doing it for, 18 months or so, but I think that it kind of makes you experienced because you are diving in, you're following those regulations, you're figuring out what comes next. And I think sustainability is one of these like trending topics now in the industry, but it seems really broad and people are like, oh, sustainability is important. But I'm curious, like, why do you think it's important now that you did have that wake up call and your customer did ask you to get certified? Why do you think it's important and that people should be paying attention to it?
Yeah, I think for us, and I, the more and more I talk to people about this, I think we're all in alignment. Our industry is in a position to be able to make a significant impact. All of the things have to align, and I don't think anybody would say right now our current state is moving as quickly as we want, with all of the important pieces moving together at the same time. We definitely, struggling our way through as an industry, but quite honestly, the technology is there. The OEMs that are in this marketplace have invested not billions but trillions of dollars. The economics will continue to get better. There are impressive changes happening all the time, whether it's solid state batteries that will help improve what the battery electric vehicles are looking like, whether it's hydrogen fuel cell, whether it's some of the new engine developments that are happening in the CNG space. There is a lot happening in this space, and it will continue to happen. So we see our position here as kind of a mid-sized dedicated provider. We're in a really unique position, and we're embracing that and leaning into it. Um, for the most part, our drivers start at one point on their on-duty day. They start, they make their pickup, probably at a distribution center or a manufacturing facility. They go make a delivery within, say, 100, 200 miles, and then they come back to where they started. So they're kind of doing an out and back move pretty much every day. And that type of transportation configuration really lends itself well to sustainability. So we see our position as a dedicated provider as being really critical, and we want to make sure we take advantage of that, and we want to make sure that our customers know what's out there, and know what types of solutions are feasible right now, or what are feasible a year from now, 3 years from now, 10 years from now. But we see our industry is in a position to make a difference in our environment. We as an organization see our position as being really crucial and really critical, and sitting in that unique space where we think we can make a difference.
Absolutely. And what do you think the future holds for this huge topic of sustainability?
Oh, that's a loaded question. Yeah, so I
Now we'll
think
be here for the next 20 minutes talking about
right. No, I think we had the opportunity to attend the ACT Sustainability Expo earlier this year in Las Vegas. Just a great for folks that have an interest in sustainability. Highly encourage that as your starting point to really jump in, immerse yourselves, and learn. But we took a team of 4 people down there from our organization across our businesses to really get some different perspectives and add some more eyes and ears to what was going on and what we heard out there. I would tell you the biggest thing right now is kind of this mismatch of, I mentioned earlier, I think the OEMs have the technology available. The battery electric trucks are pretty much ready for prime time. We can talk a little bit about the range and things like that, but they're in a position where they're ready to go. The economics, not perfect yet, but they are getting better every day. I think the challenge and the timing, the challenge is really that infrastructure. When you think about battery electric and the power and the charging infrastructure that's there, that's where things need to catch up. And probably underlying all of that is the fact that from a regulatory standpoint, that's really where we're missing out there. So I think from a policymaker perspective, I think that's where we feel, and a lot of folks in the industry feel like that's still that missing part that's still behind where we need to be to grow and become more successful in this space. So with that kind of the timing's not quite right. So I think with that understanding, one of the things that we really took away from the ACT Expo and talking with folks and talking to some of our vendors and ROEs is really what folks are kind of referring to this concept of the messy middle. We think we've got the technology. We're probably there, but we're waiting for some things from a timing perspective. So until we get there, there's kind of this middle time frame where hydrogen fuel cell, not quite there yet. Great application in the longer lengths of haul in the future. Battery electric in a real short configuration. We love battery electric yard trucks right now. That's one of the things that our customers and we're recommending to our customers. That's kind of that's ready for prime time right now. But in between timing and in between those lengths of haul, there's kind of that middle point where it's going to be a little bit of time until we can get to full implementation. So one of the things that we talk about, it's not always, sustainability isn't just about spending $400, $600, $800,000 on a truck. It's just good trucking, and I think that's where some people kind of get lost a bit. And when I talk about just good trucking, those are the things that aren't any different now than they were 20, 30, 40 years ago. It's thinking about how do you spec your truck? Are you specing it as environmentally friendly as you can to improve your miles per gallon? Are you incenting your drivers? What does your MPG look like? How is that tracking? Are you continuing to upgrade your fleet with the newest technology? Diesel internal combustion engines have come a really long way in terms of particulate matter that's coming out of the exhaust. So I think that that's something that continues to get vilified. But in that diesel internal combustion engine space, right now, those trucks are a heck of a lot cleaner than they ever have been. So how are you specing your trucks? The other piece that we talk about with our customers a lot too is, can you drive miles out of your operation? I mentioned earlier our supply chain engineering team. We work on a lot of projects for our customers where their goal is to get as many miles off the road as we can. And if those trucks don't need to be out there as often as they are burning the fuel and putting the particulate matter into the air, that's savings as well. So those are some of the things that we talk about, problems to solve that messy middle. I think the other really interesting piece and technological improvement that will really play out over the next 12 to 24 to 36 months is the kind of the reconfigured CNG engines. Cummins has come out with an engine that's really optimized to run on CNG, and I think in the past people may have jumped into this space and it left a bad taste in their mouth because really those engines were diesel engines that were kind of retrofitted to run on compressed natural gas. And some of those results just didn't pan out for the folks that were early adopters there. So I really do think that technology in and of itself, and there's other OEs out there and other engine manufacturers that are doing some similar things, but I think that will also continue to be a really important piece of how we get to where we are now, to kind of help move things forward in this messy middle until we can really get 3, 5, 10 years down the road to where everything is catching up, the infrastructure, the technology, and all of the power needs to run a more sustainable supply chain. Boy, that's a long-winded answer.
But there's a lot going on. I mean, it was a pretty open-ended question too. So you talked a lot about a lot of different things, and I heard a lot like kind of start with the truck. How is your truck, engaging that way? Do you think that if a company was trying to start small and making small sustainable improvements, do you think starting with the truck is the right route? Is there any other suggestions that you would have? Because you're not going to just the next day have this huge sustainable program that's really awesome and incorporating all of the pieces, but how do you make incremental change in this area?
Yeah, great question. I think what our approach has been is start somewhere, and start to measure. What we started out with is we talk the talk a lot. We also want to walk the walk. So we put together, our goal as an organization. We wanted to reduce our carbon emissions by 5%. So we're kind of measuring that on a pounds of carbon per mile. So we track that on a weekly basis. We take a look at our truck fleet to see how many gallons of fuel they purchased in that week, and take a look at the efficiency at which the MPG, compare that against our MPG numbers to see what kind of carbon output that we have as an organization. So that, for us to challenge ourselves to track it, was our first step. I think that's a great place to start. And I think the focus should really be on those things that you do regardless of if sustainability is the latest and greatest buzzword, or if you just want to run a good trucking operation. It's tracking your MPG, it's speccing of your trucks, and those types of things to try to just drive out waste. Because driving out waste, driving out a mile, driving out a gallon of diesel fuel is all positive impacts and an improvement to your sustainability and carbon footprint.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. I'm really excited. We talked a little bit at the beginning here that you are going to be speaking about sustainability at our upcoming Executive Summit, which is October 10th through 11th in Hoboken. If you guys are interested in joining us and hearing Rob speak, you can scan the QR code. If you're listening, it'll be in the show notes. But Rob, this will be your first TMSA event. We're excited to have you here and as a part of our community. I'm curious if there's anything that you're looking forward to about coming to Executive Summit and talking about sustainability.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really excited to join. We've talked about this before. It seems like everybody that I know in this industry that has anything to do with TMSA just can't say enough good things about it. So I personally am really excited to get involved and to speak at the Executive Summit. I think our organization at TA Dedicated can also benefit a lot from working closely with TMSA. So just really excited to get to meet people that are passionate, and that comes across as a really passionate group of people. Um, Try to learn as much too. I love every time I talk about sustainability or engage with a customer or have an opportunity to talk about it, I learn a ton. So I'm just really excited to hear what other people's journeys have been like and what's working for them and what isn't working. Or even if they're starting from scratch, what are some of those things that hopefully I can share ideas and just ways of doing things, how we stumbled, and if we had to do it all over again, we would do it differently. I just think really to engage with the folks at TMSA, as well as just talk sustainability. I really enjoy this topic. It's something that has been a foundational change for our business, and it's really important to our customers, and it's important to our industry as well. So I'm excited, all those things, and looking forward to October 10th and 11th.
Awesome. Well, we're excited to have you and to hear you talk. I really love sustainability as well, just in business, but also in my personal life. And so I love the movement forward and seeing, what our options are. How I always think if everyone just does a little bit, we can get so far. And so I love that this is like the hot topic of the moment. I'm a big fan of it. But there's all kinds of other things going on besides sustainability in transportation right now. So I was wondering if there's any other trends that you really see coming down the pike that are affecting us.
Yeah, great question. I think there's so much. I mean, we've our industry. We have been in call it a freight recession, near recession economically. It's just really been a downtime in our market, and that has an impact on so many organizations and so many people. There's just been some foundational changes in our industry, and when you take a look at that, and I think most people would agree, it's not a matter of if, but when things turn around. So I think people are kind of understanding the market conditions that we're in right now, but also thinking about, hey, how much longer can this last? So as we talk to some of our shippers, they're thinking a little bit further ahead. And I think in the dedicated space, we have the benefit, I'll call it, of being a little more insulated from that pure truckload supply and demand spot market situation. Most of our contracts are 3 and 5 year contractual deals. Don't get me wrong, there's still a lot of market pressure and pricing pressure that comes into that, but people are thinking further down the line to say, what does the market look like 6, 12, 18 months from now? And what does my strategy need to look like and evolve? I think people have become so understanding and from a shipper perspective, been able to, enjoy a pretty depressed rate climate. So as things change and evolve and ratchet up from a supply and demand equilibrium perspective, what does that mean to them? So we're talking to a lot of our prospective customers about what does their business look like 6, 12, 18 months from now. Is a move from one way into dedicated something that is on the horizon? Are other mode conversions looking more or less attractive? You think about that intermodal and truckload. That's always such a huge dynamic at play in our industry that drives a lot of decisions in purchasing, as well as just strategic approaches that shippers have. So I think bottom line, it's really about what this market will look like 6, 12, 18 months from now. And I think that continues to be the most highly debated topic. It's always fun to watch on different media outlets that cater to the trucking industry, what some folks are saying. So it's I think that is the number one thing that is top of mind right now for the industry.
Yes, one of my favorite parts of Elevate this year that we had back in June was we had an economy panel with 3 different economists that came on and gave their perspectives and what they're saying. And I thought that was really powerful because everybody does have a different perspective. Everyone does see things a little bit differently. And so it helps kind of give a full scope. And our members actually get the benefit of being able to see that presentation inside the member portal whenever they want, if they need to catch up on it or if they didn't get to see it live. So but I think things like that are really important, hearing different perspectives, tracking what's happening, and hopefully we will be rolling in better conditions soon. But I really appreciate you coming on the show today and coming to Hoboken in October. Looking forward to meeting you in person. I do have one question that I ask everyone who has ever appeared on the Move or really any LinkedIn Live I've ever done for TMSA. And it is my favorite question because it really gets us to get to know you as a human and not just this great salesperson and sustainability influencer in the industry. But if you could go back in time and advise a younger Rob on anything, either personally or professionally, when would you go back to and what would you tell him?
Yeah, great question. I think I talked a little bit about it earlier. Comfort zone, right? Um, be more willing to take chances early in your career. You know, I I had the opportunity to learn just so much about the industry. Um, Probably got into my comfort zone too a little bit. So just having the ability to see past that comfort zone and recognize when there are good opportunities out there to scare yourself, challenge yourself, um, take a leap of faith and jump in with 2 feet. Sometimes that fear of failure, um, that comfort zone does get pretty limiting. So that would be my advice that I'd give to myself many years ago when I had hair and you know was just getting started in the industry.
Well, I think that's great advice. And I've tried to actually been living that myself this year. Fun fact for you at this year's Elevate, to reference it again, but we celebrated TMSA's 100-year anniversary, and we kicked off the opening by kind of going through the history of TMSA, all of its name changes, where it started from. But I thought it would be a really great idea to do that and also then pretend like I was Willy Wonka and sing Pure Imagination live on stage in front of everyone, which it all made sense. And we probably will release the video at some point here, but it was my idea. I made myself do it. I made some of our board members pretend like they were the original guys from 1924. It was this whole skit. It was this whole production in about a week before conference. I was like, what did I do? Like now I have to do it. And it was one of the most nerve-wracking moments of my entire life. I did it to myself. It was my idea. My parents came to Elevate this year, and my mom got to watch the thing live. My dad makes me nervous, so I told him he had to wait outside. I was like, "Sorry, Dad, I'm nervous enough." But so my mom got to watch it, and it was everything I wanted it to be. I had a slideshow of the past that like matched all the history making things. We recognized certain people in TMSA's history, but I really wanted to do something weird and step outside my comfort zone. And the keynote speaker talked about the power of storytelling. And to me, part of that is telling your story in your own way and stepping outside of your comfort zone and thinking about doing things a little bit differently, which is what I tried to do. But it was an experience. And then everyone laughed at me because they're like, you literally, so at last year's Elevate, we went to a Savannah Bananas game, and I got to throw the first banana, but part of that is finding the banana blindfolded on the field. So I've done that in front of all of the TMSA attendees too. So who knows what's in store for next year, but I keep just publicly humiliating myself for the sake of TMSA. So
Don't call it that. Just refer to it as you getting outside of your comfort zone.
yes, that's it. Getting outside of my comfort zone to encourage others to do the same. So well,
That's
thank you
fantastic.
so much for coming on the show and for coming to Executive Summit. Again, if you're interested in registering, you can pull up the link here or check out the show notes. We are really excited for the full lineup of Executive Summit. You can see more about that there. So thank you, Rob, for coming on the show today, and I will see you in October.
Thanks for having me, Jen. Really appreciate it, and I had a great